Hey everybody, this is Ryan McClanahan with historythroughcards.com. Hope you're all doing very well today. In this video, I want to tell you about the life and career of Robert Stack, and this is actually a really cool card that I've been looking for quite some time. It's a 1955 Kane's Film Stars, and before I get to his life and career, this is a card that you might not have ever seen before. I certainly didn't, and I actually was looking for a card of his for a long time, and I came across this when I was going through eBay, and it's from Great Britain. And if you're ever looking for this particular card, there is a another set out there from Great Britain that looks really, really similar, and it is this right here. Let me just get this for you guys. It is a 1956 A, B, and C gum, and as you can tell, the borders are quite different. But at the top as well, it says printing in Great Britain in red, so you might want to keep that in mind. There's also no anything on the back really of this particular card or the other card as well. They're both blank backed, and this actually happens to be Joan Fontaine, who is the sister of Olivia de Havilland, who ended up being, I think she was 97 years old when she passed away, and Olivia de Havilland was about 105 when she passed away. God help me if I'm 105 plus years old. I don't think that I would be a very happy dude. One of the things that I was really drawn to about this particular card is Robert Stack is one of my favorite hosts on one of my favorite shows growing up as a kid, and that is Unsolved Mysteries. He does actually have a career that spanned from 1934 to 2003, but I'm not going to go through all of his movies. In fact, I am really, really bad at doing movie reviews. There is a friend and fellow YouTuber by the name of Jerome Weiselberry who I'm going to refer you guys over to, because she has some really great reviews, and whenever I'm looking for a movie to watch, I usually go over to her page on YouTube and see what she's got over there. And I think there's actually one movie that she did review quite recently called The Mortal Storm, and that has Jimmy Stewart in it as well as Robert Stack here, and I have yet to see that movie, but go over to her page and give her a like and subscribe, because she's got some really great stuff, and she's helped me out quite a bit over the last year or so with my videos. And so Jerome, well, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate everything that you've done, and you do have some great video responses too. So, keep up the good work. Okay, so getting back to Robert Stack here. Robert Stack was born Charles Langford Modini Stack in Los Angeles, California in 1919. And when he was a small child, he and the family moved to Rome, and he didn't learn how to speak English until he got back to the States about 10 years later or so. And his mother actually introduced him to several actors when he was a kid, and most notably is Clark Gable and Spencer Tracy, and I think that's where he really picked up the acting bug, and he just kind of rolled with it. He is kind of known to have started acting in 1934, but it's really in 1939 or so where he becomes a full-time, full-fledged actor. Of course, there seems to be a connection to everybody from Massachusetts in some way or form, and so Robert Stack is really no different. He took acting classes at Bridgewater State, not the hospital, but the state university, and so he then went back to California, and as I said, he was in The Mortal Storm, a movie I've never seen. You can check that out on Jerome Weiselberry's channel. And he's also in another movie called A Little Bit of Heaven from 1940 as well. He's also in a movie called To Be or Not to Be from 1942, and that's kind of interesting because it's with Carol Lombard, and that's the same year that she had passed away in a plane crash, and she is also the wife of Clark Gable, and I think that may be one of the reasons why he ended up joining the Army Air Corps about the same time. And he did about 5 missions in a B-52, and since my grandfather was in a B-52, I can't imagine what those guys were going through back then. That's just crazy. In any event, during World War II, Robert Stack did sign up, and he was with the Navy. I believe he was a commander or a lieutenant commander. He was pretty high up there. So he resumed his career in 1946. In fact, he probably has a few other credits prior to this, but he was nominated for an Academy Award in 1956 for Written on the Wind. But what I wanted to kind of get to today was a TV show that he was involved in from 1959 to 1963 called The Untouchables. So years later, I know that they had the 1987 Brian De Palma movie called The Untouchables with Kevin Costner and Sean Connery and Robert De Niro. And actually, that is a really good movie, although I'm not the biggest Brian De Palma fan in the world. Something rubs me the wrong way with that guy as a director, but it's neither here nor there, I guess. The Untouchables TV show was really fantastic, and it's actually also mentioned in a movie called The Apartment with Jack Lemmon, and actually that's a really good movie too. Again, I'm not sure if Jerome Weiselberry has covered that. I think she has, but if she hasn't, Jerome, come on now, let's go. Anyway, The Untouchables is based on Eliot Ness's career with the FBI, and I am going to get a little bit into this because I think Eliot Ness is really kind of a fascinating character. He doesn't have any cards that I'm aware of. When the 1935 G-Men set came out, I thought he might be in that set, but he actually isn't, at least that I'm aware of. Maybe you guys would let me know if he is. And that would be kind of cool, actually, if Eliot Ness did have a card from the time that he was actually going after these criminals. And the problem with the FBI at the time when Ness was involved was that they couldn't catch Al Capone doing anything illegal, like I say murder. So they instead went after him on tax evasion, and that's how they got him. Kind of like how they got O.J. Simpson. Now, a lot of people say that O.J. Simpson was the killer of his wife and her boyfriend, and they couldn't catch him on that, so they got him on stealing sports memorabilia, and he got sent away. So sometimes, you kind of have to pick and choose your battles here, what you think you can get and what you can't as a district attorney or, say, the FBI. After Al Capone's bust in 1931, Eliot Ness could really kind of get any law enforcement job he wanted throughout the country, and not long afterwards he went to work in Cleveland as their public safety director, and it wasn't really kind of long after that there were rumors, or in fact bodies, starting to pile up in Kingsbury Run in Cleveland, which is where he was, in fact. And Kingsbury Run is a section of Cleveland that at the time in the 1930s was where all the drifters and homeless were in the area. A lot of times, unfortunately, I think the coroner had said that these people, they were alive while their heads were being lopped off and other body parts. So Eliot Ness thought that whoever was killing these people was a medical professional, a doctor, if you will, and the blood was actually drained as well. Years later, they tried to make a connection between what happened in Cleveland and what happened to the Black Dahlia in 1947 in Los Angeles. And I really don't think there's any connection there whatsoever. Unfortunately, the Black Dahlia case isn't going to be solved either. Elizabeth Short was from my neck of the woods here in Boston, and that was just a disgusting thing. I'm not really a big fan of seeing photos like that. They also took photos of the Kingsbury Run butcher as well, as that's what they called them, or the torso murderer. I think I like the Kingsbury Run butcher better. In any event, Eliot Ness rounded up almost 1,000 suspects, and he questioned a lot of them. And there was a few that he thought were prime suspects, especially one, and that happened to be a doctor by the name of Francis Sweeney. The press was dubbing him Dr. X, which I'm pretty sure was a movie with Humphrey Bogart, and he was high on suspicion by the police department. The only problem was that he was connected. His cousin was a congressman, so Ness really thought that he couldn't get a conviction, and it turned out that Sweeney was first off, he was a medical doctor and he had served in World War One, but by the 1930s he was really not of sound mind, so he checked himself into a mental hospital, and he passed away in 1964. But it was always thought that he was the butcher of Kingsbury Run. They just couldn't prove it, and obviously they didn't have the DNA evidence at the time. I'm not even sure they could get DNA evidence now in either case. Either exhume Francis Sweeney's body or the DNA evidence of the victims. And only 3 victims are known to have been ID'd positively. I think 2 definitely and 1 maybe. So there's at least 12 that they know of, and I think maybe as high as 18 or more. The last known victim, or the last victim that they think was done in by the serial killer, stopped in the same time that Sweeney admitted himself to a hospital, just by coincidence. This is something that bothered Ness quite a bit, in fact, and he resigned his position in 1942. He tried to run for mayor of Cleveland, and he lost really bad. He never went back into law enforcement again, and he died in 1957 of a heart attack. A lot of people have said that Eliot Ness really kind of bent the laws quite often. They also said that he was a severe drunk as well, which is not portrayed in the Untouchables TV show or in the movie at all. And again, like, I'm not a big fan of Brian De Palma's movies at all, but I thought the Untouchables movie was quite good, in fact. So getting back to Robert Stack, he had played Eliot Ness in the Untouchables from 1959 to 1963, and he was highly regarded. In fact, I think he was nominated or won an Emmy Award for that portrayal. And if you're ever interested in reading more about the Kingsbury Butcher, there is a really good book called American Demon by Harlan Coben. This episode of Unsolved Mysteries is number 5 in the 13th season, and it aired on December 9th, 1992. And when I was growing up, I used to watch Unsolved Mysteries all the time. I think my favorite episodes of Unsolved Mysteries are the UFO or alien abduction ones, and specifically the Allagash abductions, the Roswell incident as well. And then you get the Lost Treasure. And so Adam's Treasure, I thought was really good shows too. So Robert Stack actually really enjoyed his time on Unsolved Mysteries, and he thought that the show was very interactive and it could play a huge role in trying to bring justice to people who either lost loved ones, and that's a major theme in Unsolved Mysteries, or really kind of tried to bring to light certain things that really wasn't talked about in TV at the time. And I think CBS may have tried to drop Unsolved Mysteries. They initially had it as a three-part miniseries, I think, in 1987, and then it was just so popular that they continued until Robert Stack had passed away in 2003. I want to know what your favorite Unsolved Mysteries episodes are, if you guys have any, and if you have any favorite movies of Robert Stack as well. As I say, Unsolved Mysteries is a big part of my childhood, and the music was actually really creepy too. And so it was in a good way, not like The Fly or Aliens, because that really scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. But that's another story for another time. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I greatly appreciate it, as always, and I'll have another video out for you sometime soon. All right, have a good one. Bye. Hey everybody, this is Ryan McClanahan with historythroughcards.com. Hope you're all doing very well today. In this video, I want to tell you guys about the life and career of a blank card. No. Robert Stack is who I want to tell you guys about. Oh my god. Oh, I need a nap. So, anyway,